So Peter rides a skateboard. He was one of the early, first 10 people at Bard that became Gemini. I mean, Gemini's kicking ass, and he runs the meetups for the community building, and he's an engineer, Renaissance man. He's just awesome. And when I said we were going to come to the Bay Area, I said we want to be at Stanford, but we also want to, be with one of the large corporates and show that we can bridge these two communities. I will say, doing an event at two different venues is nuts, whatever. But Peter is like the co-host of today.
But hey, by the way, John, it's a minor miracle that we pulled this off, right?
Well, we can screw it up. There's, we're just getting started. But Peter is awesome. So today, if you're proud of being here at Google, give this guy a bear hug. He's pretty big, so you gotta get around him.
Thanks.
But and today I'm gonna talk a little bit about the venues. We have this building. We have the startups are gonna be pitching in the founder room. We have another room somewhere else, and then we have an outdoor stage. It's gonna be all really cool. Next year, we locked in MP7, which is like a mirage. It's too good to be true. I'm convinced someone had a DeLorean and invented it from the future, went into the future and brought it back. But we have a big complex that's going to be a lot more efficient than this year. But this year, as we do this multiple times in the Bay Area, we want people to kind of say, wow, I was in multiple buildings and it was a little confusing the first year.
This year's a little bit scrappy, right?
Yeah, this is scrappy,
Yeah.
a little janky. Who thinks this is janky? All right, but who's okay with that? Okay, no, it shows it's a way to differentiate ourselves. So in a minute, I'm going to have Peter say a few things. But does anyone know what this is? This is the Apple Newton. Okay, when Steve Jobs got pushed out of Apple, John Scully, the guy who sold sugar water, his identity was in this product. John Scully was like, all right, I'm going to make a name for myself. And he did. He created the PDA. This is the first product known as a personal digital assistant. And he promised it. He went all over the world, all over the country saying, hey, I got this thing. And look, the smartphone, you don't get the smartphone without this. So it's not an epic fail, but it was pretty much of a fail. And one of the reasons it was such a fail was he said it had to be small enough to fit in his coat pocket. Now, this is a true story. His team couldn't make it any smaller. So they snuck into his office and made his pockets bigger so it would fit in his pockets. But that's not the real fail. And I'm dating myself. WKRP in Cincinnati. Herb pushed turkeys out of a plane on Thanksgiving, and sadly, turkeys don't fly. That was an epic fail. This had another aspect that was an epic fail that's relevant to what the hell we're doing here today. This had handwriting recognition. At least that's what John Scully said. There was a team in Russia who was making the software, and they couldn't get it to work. And it was delayed, it was delayed, it was delayed. And finally, when they sent it out, they said, hey, check out the stylus. Jobs said, I hate stylists, so he had nothing to do with this. It didn't work. The AI was stupid. AI was a competitive disadvantage for this product. This product failed because the handwriting was so bad, which is now a trivial thing. I mean, you think of Alexa saying, or speech recognition, we've come so far. But who thinks AI today is a competitive disadvantage? Who does not think it's a competitive disadvantage? Who's here because you think we are in crazy times and you wanna understand it better? And what I say to people is that there's a lot of people right now that know the world is changing, and they're just gonna throw up their arms and say, I don't know what to do. Then there are a lot of people who say the world is changing, this AI thing, it's like a tree with roots. We're being hit by a weather pattern that the roots are not prepared for. That also means there are opportunities. There are a lot of people who are going to say, I'm going to be the bridge from what is to what it is going to be. I don't exactly know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to be there for the transition. And then there are a bunch of people that are going to lead at this moment. And what we want to do is create bridges with communities. Now, there's a bridge in Boston. It's called the Salt and Pepper Bridge. It's the Longfellow Bridge. It's very famous. It's how you go from MGH to Cambridge. In 1793, the leadership of Harvard said, we can't have that bridge because it's going to bring people to our Harvard students and corrupt them. I think we need bridges more than ever right now. And Web 2.0, I do claim that Project Whirlwind at MIT created all the elements that went west and helped create the personal computer movement out here. But I will give Silicon Valley Web 2.0. There were a lot of winners take all. I think privacy kind of got thrown out the window. This AI moment, it's not clear who the winners are going to be, and it's not clear where we're going. And I'm excited to have people congregate and interact and bump and connect and figure that out. And I see you all as key stakeholders in this. The audience is not an afterthought at Imagination Action. You are a key leg of the stool. And thank you for showing up. This would be really lame if none of you were here. Who's here right now? Okay, great. I also want to say another thing. I'm obsessed with Star Trek. I've watched every Star Trek there is, even Star Trek 5, which was pretty bad. Anyone know what this is? Okay, if you're a certain generation, you know exactly what this is. If you're a certain generation, you have no idea what this is. So this is the Star Trek communicator. And it's fictional. You know, I don't know if it, you know, whatever. It is what this is a prop. But I taught a course on Star Trek, the contemporary epic. I was saying it's like the Odyssey or whatever. And I looked up when Star Trek supposedly takes place. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, happens 250 years from now. So as the United States on July 4th turns 250 in a few months, no one is thinking, what are we going to be like in 250 years? We're stuck in the moment. That's because these moments are kind of crazy right now. Who thinks these moments are crazy? All right. But we need leaders to kind of help plot a course of where we can go and what we can do with this. And I think, you know, we're at Google. I don't know if this is blasphemy, but I think the next Google could be two of you meeting here today. And maybe you buy Google. Or maybe you collaborate with Google. Right? Don't buy, you know, I don't know. Was that bad?
No, that's perfect.
Okay. All right. Here, let's, where's my phone? How am I doing on time? Okay, so where's the clicker? Here's the clicker. All right. Can you get the slides up? Thanks, guys. Who's having fun? Yeah, fist bump someone next to you. Just fist bump. All right. So this is a Newton. It's actually not the same version as the one I had. So who knows what this is? All right, this is not the Parthenon. The Parthenon was the inspiration for this. This is the MIT Dome. I was actually in a helicopter above it before 9/11. And I took that photo. This is a pretty famous dome. So for 10 years, I've had a 56,000 square foot dome in Davos. 56,000. Takes 19 days to build. Heinz, who's a very interesting person, has been to this dome. For 10 years, I've been programming in this dome. I got the dome, and I said, I don't want to do pay for play. I got 12 touch screens where people do demos. Every 90 minutes, we'd rotate them, have 72 demos there. This is in Davos during the World Economic Forum. That building right there is the World Economic Forum. So I say to all the people that pay $500,000 to go to WEF and get a white badge, they get 3 white badges for that. I say, hey, come in my dome. I had 2,500 people here. Kent, did I have 2,500 people? Where's Kent? Yeah, Kent helped with security at that event. So we had 25 panels right here. We had 25 panels right outside, and then we had a bunch of interviews with the mountains in the background. So the reason I say this is when I got this dome, I needed to figure out what to call the programming in here. And what we decided was it would be imagination in action. Because we need imagination more than ever, and we need action. Ted, his ideas were spreading, that's special, but I think imagination action is like going up a power. And 10 years ago, I said, let's put exponential technologies on stage, but also talk about the human dimension of it. And there's Sally Kornbluth, president of MIT. She was there a few months ago, and there's the mountains in the background. And part of the idea, and this Dome event is known as the unofficial official MIT event. I don't want to be the official MIT event because we'd be kind of co-opted by MIT. I like it's unofficial. But I want this Dome also to be the unofficial Bay Area event or the unofficial Stanford event. So that's why we brought our crazy out here. So for 10 years doing Imagination Action in Davos, I said, let's bring it back to the East Coast. So in 2023, actually in this Dome, early days, we had people speak about ChatGPT 2. Who did not know about ChatGPT 2 when it was a thing? Okay, yeah, a lot of you are techies and you knew about it, but you know we were there before. So we did Imagination Action at MIT starting in 2023. We had Altman, we had Stephen Wolfram, Vinod. When computer science was 60, we had at MIT we had 60 PIs, each give an 8-minute talk. All these talks are on Forbes. Thank you, Randall. All these talks, I wrote an article about them, and we did Ode to Joy and 2001 theme out here afterwards. And we always had startups at it. This is at 7 in the morning, startups pitching. Here are the 3 board chairs, current and past 2 of MIT Corporation. And then here's Bob Metcalfe offering the first node of the ARPANET. He created Ethernet and wrote Metcalfe's Law, the network effect. And what I'm hoping is all of you can help create a network effect for the great stuff here. And I mentioned, the Star Trek thing. There's some interesting stories here, but what's core to MIT is the bumping and connecting of different disciplines. It was created because William Barton Rogers didn't graduate from college, but was asked to survey the state of Virginia for the Industrial Revolution, and he was bullshit because he couldn't find skilled people to hire. So he wrote a letter to his brother. I'm holding this letter saying, let's create an institute to train people for the moment. And there's a similar moment like the Industrial Revolution with AI going on right now, and we think this Imagination Action platform can be really special. This is that bridge I told you about that Harvard doesn't like. Here, just read this for a second. So let's make some special bridges. So at this event today, we have Stanford faculty, and a lot of them are speaking tomorrow, but a bunch of them are here today. We also have all these enterprise people. We have all these startups, and there's different DNA here. These startups want to get, have clients, and enterprise want to hire the talent or not be, be current by watching it. So there's a nice synergy here. So some of you, could help facilitate this. We have all these journalists here. We have all these volunteers. No one's getting paid a dime helping to help the crazy. And we have all these investors. So we think there's great convection currents here. So today, there are 4 stages. So you should not be a couch potato and sit in one stage, okay? You should spend a lot of time in these other spaces. Like we have this big lawn right here, and we're gonna do lightning talks out there. Amin, who runs cloud, 22,000 people report up to him. He's gonna speak here for a half hour. We're gonna take him out there with his protege at Google, and they're gonna have a dialogue. So if some of you wanna continue that, go out there. We have Bing Gordon, who came up with not Prime. I think Prime was like, I don't know, Aristotle, or, a long time ago, the concept of Prime, but he came up with the branding of Amazon Prime. Long time, amazing product guy, co-founder of Electronic Arts. He's gonna interview one of his proteges out there. And then we have all these lightning talks and technical talks. We have people who are gonna give 5 to 9 minute talks. So some of you should go check those out. Who wants to check some of those out? Okay, and some of these may be, they may be young kids that are just trying to, be relevant, but they may have a perspective that's a lot better than these people who've reached the apex of their career and on the way down. So, definitely check that out. We also have an AI booth here where you can get a photo. This is not the Catherine Taylor one that you're barred from if you're an attendee. This is for everyone. We also have a $500,000 flying car that's going to be out here. All right. So right now we're in Mariposa right there. The portraits are out there. Walker Canyon is where the 45 startups are going to do. There can only be one, the $50,000 prize. Is Naveen in the room, by the way? Yeah. Naveen is the one who wrote the check for $50K. So if you see him, give him a high five. We really appreciate his leadership. And then this is another stage. So there are 4 stages. So definitely go to all of them, and then go to all of them again and again and again. And there's a lot of outdoor space. There's a pool out here. Don't swim in the pool. I feel that might get us in trouble. These are the founders. We'll see. And then we have 250 speakers. After the event, if you like a speaker, take their social card. We made them all. And write about what you heard, or maybe take 2 social cards and juxtapose the ideas. Be a citizen journalist, and go to the speakers and say, are you doing this just for the Chia Pet? If you're doing it, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. And I want to thank Peter. So now I want to turn over to Peter. Peter, can you tell us, what we should know about Gemini, and why you said this was a win-win-win, and why you're just so awesome and one of my favorite people in the world. And thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. No, thanks so much, Don. So I've been running this Gemini meetup so first of all, I've been on Gemini for about 2.5 years, and that was before Gemini was really a thing. And I remember this was back in 2022. Sundar said, listen, we have these large language models, don't know exactly what to do with them. Just throw some stuff up against the wall for about 6 months and see what you can do. And there was this sort of beautiful period of creativity back then when somehow in a few months we invented a lot of the stuff that was going to come out. It takes a little while, though. It turns out productionizing at Google, it takes a little while. But it's been an amazing journey. And I'm just really happy that I feel like we started to turn the corner around Gemini 2.5 and then the kind of VO3 thing. And then, has anybody played with this Nano Banana, by the way? It's kind of new. It's kind of fun, right? Have you done anything interesting?
Nothing interesting.
Nothing interesting. But you know, it's fun to play with. And if, by the way, if you happen to be in the area, every other Friday we hold a Gemini meetup over at the Mountain View campus. So just get in touch with me if you want to come. And other than that, oh yeah, you know what? These aren't a big deal, but let's see, Eric, do you have a little? Yeah, do you mind? So here's the thing. I've been working with these LLMs for a long time, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, the chatting thing is a little bit cumbersome to me, right? I just, you know, to sit there, like, let's say for the sake of argument, you're in the middle of a movie, you're in the middle of a video game, you have to pause, you have to say, oh, Gemini, by the way, I'm at this level, like, where do I go next? And so I had this idea, and Eric, I don't know if you want to push play. Oh, do these work? Or are they just images? Oh, really? Oh, really? Well, do you mind flipping a couple? Just see. They're all images? Okay. Anyway, I tried to embed these videos, but the bottom line is I just wanted to have Google as Gemini's as ambient companion. So the idea is that Gemini's watching the video game with you, it's watching TV with you, it's playing chess with you. And you can basically say, listen, Gemini, can you take over? Can you level grind for a little bit? Can you wake me up when something interesting happens? And you know, basically, just this idea of an ambient companion. And I can't tell whether that's useful or whether it's creepy. And so I'm still trying to kind of figure that out. But I just had my daughter play with this kind of funny thing.
He has 5 kids.
And you know, she basically ended up playing video games with Gemini for about 4 hours or something. So anyway, I don't know if that's the kind of next thing, is this idea of an ambient companion. But I feel like nobody really talks about that. Right now it's all agentic. But I have a feeling this ambient companion thing is coming. And I don't know if we'll be the first, we'll see.